DreAllDay.com.
Turn the volume up. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to occur. And on top of all this is even more. You get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves me, you, and anyone else to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic, we're talking confidence and work ethic. These are elements that are chosen. I think work ethic, everyone understands that that's something that you have to choose to have. It's not something someone can bestow upon you. No matter how much you study another person, how inspired or motivated you are by watching their example, confidence, the same thing. No matter how much anyone else tells you how great you can be, how much potential there is within you, the only way you can really be confident and the only way you're really going to have that solid work ethic that produces the type of results you want is you have to make a choice for both. These are not things that someone else can, even if someone gives you all the information, there's only so far someone can teach you before at some point, there's only so far someone can bring you to the edge of the pool before you got to jump in the water and, swim or drown, sink or swim, basically. Chosen, not given. The definition of this word confidence is consciousness of one's power. Consciousness, that means you are completely aware that you had a power to do what you're doing. I talked about in a recent episode, might have been the last episode or episode before that, how if you're gonna go from good to great, you have to be completely aware of your greatness. This is not one of those things where you're great and you're like, man, I didn't know that I was great, or nobody told me, or someone had to inform you that you were great because you were just unaware of how amazing you've been up to this point. When you're great, you know that you're great. And then you go out there and you live it. And confidence is this. This is conscious, it's not unconscious. It's not something that is just innate and it just, you're just born with it. No, this is something that you absolutely had to be aware of, and you had to be aware of your power to use it. And then you had to actually use it. Because again, we're talking confidence and work ethic together here. See, the thing about confidence is you don't get confidence. People say, how can I get more confidence? Or, if I read this book, am I going to get confidence? Or if I take this course, or if I hire this coach or consultant, or if I go to this event, or if I listen to this podcast often enough, will this help me get confidence? Now, confidence is not something that you get. You don't get it from some outside material from anybody. Now, you can learn from that outside material. You can definitely get the elements. You can get the ingredients that you'll need to put together, to mix up that soup, to bake that cake, whatever you're going to do. You can learn about it from whatever sources you want, but you'll never have your full allotment of confidence unless you choose to have it. Confidence is a choice. The way that you feel about yourself and the way that you walk, talk, carry yourself, all of those are choices that you have to make. And today I'm going to explain why that is and what work ethic has to do with all of this. So let's get into it. Point number one. Today's topic again is confidence and work ethic are chosen, not given. Point number one. If you have never proven yourself, you have to choose to make yourself believe that you can do something even before you've actually done it. So this is all the way back to the very beginnings of this whole idea of confidence. When I explain and debunk the whole myth of fake it till you make it. And then people ask, well, how can you actually have confidence if you've never done the thing before? Well, the thing is, you have to choose to believe in yourself even when you don't have anything tangible in front of you to believe in yourself for. And this is something that you have to do even after you've developed a certain level of confidence, because if you ever want to bring your confidence to a higher level than where you are, or you want to perform at a higher level than where you are, you have to believe that you're capable of doing it even before you have proof that you've done it. If you just really think about that, that's the only way any of us achieves anything. You think of a baby who's learning to walk. They may not consciously understand what they're doing, but the baby believes it's possible for them to stand up without falling over and to take some steps without falling over again. They believe it. That's why they keep trying it, even though they have no proof. They haven't actually done it yet, and the baby will try to walk for, I don't know how long a typical kid tries to walk before they can actually do it and take some steps and all of that. But you understand there's a belief there. The only reason that they keep trying is there's some belief that this could happen if I just keep trying over and over again. The difference between the child and us with our older, more experienced and more developed brain is that the child isn't so aware of failure, hasn't been socially conditioned to be embarrassed about coming up short over and over again on a big stage as we have by the time you get to age 15 or age 12 or age 27. We've been so conditioned to not try too hard because we don't want to deal with the ridicule that could possibly come, or just the attention that comes with the fact that we tried something, everybody knows we tried it, and we came up short on it. And then whatever people are around you, maybe the social conditioning and people around you, it may be even worse, may make that even worse. But even any of us, I don't care who you are, how old you are, or how perfect your upbringing was. The older you get, the more you get exposed to people's ideas and thoughts and habits and anxieties around trying and failing. And this is what keeps people from raising their level of confidence, because as soon as you decide you're going to raise your level of confidence to something above what you've already achieved, one of the first thoughts that comes into most people's minds is, okay, I can raise my thoughts to above this level, but what if after I raise my thoughts, I try to actually do the thing and it doesn't work? What if this fails? What if this ends up being a quote unquote waste of time? What if it just doesn't work? Well, it can't be a waste of time, and it can't not work if you fully believe and you're willing to put the work in to match the belief. If you're willing to put enough effort and time and energy and attention and focus into matching the belief that you have of whatever it is you believe you can achieve, then it's going to work. Now, again, that is a self-repeating cycle. I want you to understand, it's not, all right, you need to put in 3 hours, then it's guaranteed to work. You may need to put in 3 hours, and maybe you think you need to put in 3 hours, and after that 3 hours, you realize you need 3 more, then you need 30 more, then you need 100 more, then eventually you get to it. But as long as you're willing to continue making investments, there's no way that you're going to come up short. I mean, you'll either die or you'll achieve it. I mean, it's one or the other. So if you've never proven yourself, you got to choose to make yourself believe before you've actually done it. It's basically a trick that you got to play on yourself that becomes as real as you allow it to be. So the question is not, are you capable of achieving X, or are you capable of achieving Y, or even how much you have to work, how hard you have to work to achieve X or Y. The question is, how much can you make yourself believe in the absence of tangible proof? That's really the only question you have to answer. And this is all mental game. And that's why I call it the mental game, because you could be winning the game, you could be losing the game, but you got to perform in the game. And there are certain results that come from your performance in the game. And if you're not prepared to play the game, then you're not going to get the results that you expected, no matter how much skill, talent, or opportunity you believe has been brought to the table by you or anyone else. Point number 2. Today's topic is confidence and work ethic are things that are chosen, not given. Understand that once you've proven yourself and you are consciously aware of your ability, you still have to choose to bring that belief to the surface every new time that you're set to perform. So if you're aware that you can make a bunch of 3-pointers, you're aware that you can give a great speech, you're aware that you can sell a product, you're aware that you can perform whatever job you do, whatever tasks are involved in that job, you're aware that you can do them really well, you still have to make the decision to bring the energy and bring the discipline and bring the work ethic to that job every single time and perform it the way that you know you can perform it, / the way that you have proven that you can perform it. So just because you believe in yourself and just because you're confident doesn't mean the results are just going to fall out of the sky over and over again just because you showed up. You still got to show up and actually really show up and actually do the work that comes with showing up. So after you've proven it, you got to keep proving it over and over and over and over again. Because every situation is a new situation, is a unique situation, and the choice of bringing your confidence to the party, that's mental work. People, I mean, think about it. Think about a sport. We can think about sports. A player who's known for being really good at any level, eventually the word is going to get out, and eventually opponents are going to start game planning ahead of time. Okay, for us to win this game, we got to slow this guy down. We got to slow her down. We got to figure out a way to hamper their plans and not let them do what they've been doing to everybody else. Because if we let them do that, then they're probably going to beat us. So people are going to show up and game plan against you. If you watch, especially in the playoffs of any sport or a tournament or whatever in any sport, teams game plan even harder than they do during the regular season because they know it's do or die in the playoffs. If you lose, you're out. Maybe you got to lose a series, maybe you only got to lose one game, but it's do or die. And everybody's gunning for that championship. They're going to game plan even harder to stop you from whatever you've done so well. And the thing that you do really well is usually the thing you're most confident in. So that's a chess match. Your opponents are trying to stop you from doing the very thing that you've built the most confidence in, and your job is to try to execute that thing you had the most confidence in, despite the fact that your opponent's putting all of their resources into stopping you from doing it. Now, that's just in sports, but in life, you're going to be challenged as well. I don't know if anyone here in life has ever experienced building up your confidence because you performed and produced results over and over and over and over again. Then all of a sudden, a wrench gets thrown into that plan. Wrench gets thrown into your process, and all of a sudden things are not working as they were. All of a sudden things are not going smoothly anymore. All of a sudden things may have gone from going forward full speed to actually halting, you're in neutral, or maybe even going backwards. I don't know if any of you has ever experienced that. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just a handful of us. But I think I'm gonna guess that most of us have experienced that before. That just because things have been working, just because we built up our confidence, just as we have performed over and over and over again, doesn't mean we're going to continue to perform. Doesn't mean everything's going to keep working. Doesn't mean we can just sit back and kick our feet up and we'll never have a challenge again. Things will continue to happen. There'll continue to be problems. We'll have to continue to bring the work ethic to have a reason to have our confidence, right? Because confidence, again, is a choice, but it's also something that you earn. You earn your confidence by doing the thing, because we know what confidence is: consciousness of one's power. Only way you can be conscious of your power, well, one is two ways. One, you can trick yourself into believing that you have the power even before you've proven that you have it. And the other way is to actually do the thing that shows you have the power, to reinforce in your mind that is there. And it takes work to reinforce. Reinforcing is an action word, it's a verb, right? And action words require some kind of work. The scientific definition of work is the capacity to have an effect on matter, outside of yourself. So doing that work is a choice. That's not something that just because you're confident doesn't mean you're going to work hard. You can be very confident and a lazy worker, and you can be a great worker with no confidence whatsoever. The combination of both is what we're talking about here today. So again, the point: every situation is new and unique, and the choice of bringing your confidence to the party is the mental work. And not everybody always wants to do that mental work, especially when it gets hard to bring that confidence to the party. It's not always fun and easy to bring it to the party, especially, again, we can use sports as a clear example. When you have opponents whose very job is to stop you from doing the very thing that you're confident in, are you willing to bring it every single time? That's the question. Point number 3. We all know that things don't always go perfectly for us. And I just talked about that in point number 2. There will come a time in your life, in your career, if it hasn't come already, it is coming. And if it has come before, it's coming again, when you will have to choose to bring your confidence to the forefront, go out and do your thing, and then it doesn't work. You say, you know what, I'm confident, I've done the work, I'm going to continue to do the work, I'm ready to do my thing again as I've done many times before, or I'm ready to do my thing for the first time, but I feel like I'm prepared and I'm planned and I'm ready for this. And then you go out and do exactly what you plan to do, and nothing works. Maybe it goes the exact opposite direction as what you expected. Maybe some of you have experienced this. Maybe some of you are going through this right now, and that's why you listen to this. The question then becomes, how much confidence are you willing to have the next time then? How confident are you willing to be after it doesn't work? After you did everything you planned to do, you feel like you followed your steps, your process perfectly to the T, and it did not work. You did not get the result you expected, despite the fact that you were confident, despite the fact that you did all the work. How much confidence will you have the next time? All right, you thought if you just followed steps 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10, it would work every time. And it did for the last 3 years, but now it ain't working anymore. For the last 6 months, it hasn't been working at all. How confident can you remain? Understand that the amount of confidence that you're gonna maintain is not an arbitrary amount. It's the amount of confidence you choose to tap into. See, it's not about how many times it worked before, or how much it has not worked in the present, or how urgent the situation is, or how much time you have, or how much time you think you have. It's a choice. You choose how much of your confidence you're going to bring out, or how much confidence period you're going to bring out. Might not even be your confidence. You could borrow it from somebody else. You ever been around a person who just being around them makes you feel more confident? Or have you ever been the person that people being around you makes them feel more confident? So it's the amount of confidence that you choose to tap into and bring to the table, despite the fact that things didn't work last time, or they haven't been working for a long time, or maybe they've never worked for you. Is a choice that you make, that I'm going to bring this confidence anyway. I'm going to believe in myself this much anyway, despite the fact that there's nothing around me that says it's going to work this time, just like it didn't work last time. And this way, confidence, ladies and gentlemen, isn't something that happens to you. It's not something that occurs naturally either. It's a choice that you make to believe. And it's the work ethic, The work ethic that we talk about here in the title of this episode is how willing are you to continue bringing that confidence? Because again, bringing confidence to the table is not something that just happens. It's not going to just keep happening naturally, because it's easy to continue to be confident when things are working. All right, so the confidence, when things are working, it kind of reinforces itself unconsciously. You don't even have to remind yourself about it. But when things are not working, that's when you got to reinforce that confidence. That's when you got to remind yourself, you know what, I'm going to bring the confidence anyway. That's when you got to make a choice. I'm going to bring this confidence anyway. That is mental work. And I think if you really think about it, or you've been thinking about it while you're listening to this episode, you understand the mental work you got to go through, especially when things are not going the way that you expected, when things are going the exact opposite of how you wanted them to go. The mental work that you have to do to keep your confidence up during those situations, you know, is not easy. You know, it's not a common thing. You know that many people fall back for a while. Maybe you fell back for a while. You didn't have confidence for a few months, maybe for a few years, and then you finally tap back into it. Maybe somebody helped you tap back into it. Maybe it's something you read, something you heard, something you watched, something you experienced, someone had a conversation with you, something happened that caused you to tap back into that confidence, or maybe right now you're looking for it and that's what drew you to this episode. Let me see if I can get that confidence back. Let me see if I can tap back into it again. Let me see if I can figure out what's the formula for me bringing that confidence back. Here's the formula I'm telling you today, and let's recap today's episode so you understand what it is. And today's topic is confidence, and the work ethic that goes into displaying that confidence is a choice. It is not something that just happens to you. Definition of confidence is consciousness of one's own power. You do not get confidence. Confidence is not something you acquire from outside, that comes from the outside into you. You learn about it from outside sources, such as listening to this podcast here, but you will never have your full allotment of confidence until or unless you choose to have it. And there's mental work that goes into having confidence. It's not just something that you just think up and decide and all of a sudden everything happens. There are actions that go into it, mental actions and physical actions. Point number one, if you've never proven yourself in something before, you have to choose to make yourself believe that you can prove yourself even before you actually have proven yourself. Now, this is not faking it till you make it, because there's no faking involved. As soon as you decide to choose to believe in something, it's not fake. You've chosen to believe in it. Or this is not make believe. You have chosen to believe. And those are two completely different things. It's basically a trick that you play on yourself, if you want to call it that, but it becomes as real as you want it to make, as you want to make it. All right, so it can be fake. For some people, it is fake, because you're always thinking the whole time, well, I'm just faking it. It's not real. Then eventually the fakery is going to go away. The clock is going to strike midnight, right? The glass shoe is going to come off Cinderella's foot. You're going to go back to being what was she? She was like a cleaning lady in rags. I forget the word that they would use to describe Cinderella. But if you haven't read the story, go find it somewhere. You can probably find it on Google or buy the book at a kid's bookstore. The point that I'm making here is, the confidence that you choose to have can be at any level you want it to be at. It does not have anything to do with what you've proven or achieved up to this point, nor what anybody else thinks of your achievements up to this point or your potential to this point. Point number two, once you've proven yourself and you are conscious of your ability to do X, you still have to choose to bring the belief to the surface every time you're set to perform, because every situation is new and unique, and it's going to require you to bring that effort all over again, the mental effort all over again to be confident. And the choice of bringing confidence to the party, it is mental work, because there'll be times you don't really feel like doing the work. You don't really feel like showing up all the way. Why? Because you're human, not because there's anything wrong with you. Not everyone will always want to do it. None of us always wants to do it, but it's the mental work. That's why I'm letting you know that this is a choice, not a given. The mental work that you must choose to do to have that confidence ready every single time. Basically getting your mind in shape. This is mental conditioning. I did a whole chapter on this in my book, Work on Your Game. There's also a whole section on it in my Bulletproof Mindset course that you can get the details on at dreallday.com/bulletproof. Point number three, we all know that things don't always go perfectly for us. There will come a time when you choose to bring your confidence to the forefront. You go out and do your thing, and you know exactly what you need to do to achieve the outcome, and it just doesn't work, even though it's worked many times before. The question at that point becomes, how much confidence will you have the next time then? And the amount that you bring the next time is based on how much you choose to tap into. You can choose to tap into confidence on 1,000 if you want to. You can choose to tap into confidence on level 15 if you want to. It's completely up to you. But what makes it work why work ethic is a part of this subject here today is that when things have not worked the last 8 times that you try something, it's really hard to bring confidence at a level 1,000 when the last 8 times things didn't work, because your mind is starting to talk to you in the outside world. Those sounds that you hear through the air as opposed to through the bones. If you don't know what I'm referring to, there's a section in my book, Work on Your Game, where we talk about listening through the bones instead of listening through the air. That means listening to what's coming from you rather than what's coming from someone else, or at least what's coming from your soul. If you have it conditioned properly. Now, if you haven't conditioned yourself properly, you probably don't want to listen to yourself either. And that's going to make it triple hard for you to bring confidence on a level 1,000 when things haven't worked the last 8 times or 2 times or the last 17 times. The amount of confidence you choose to tap into, despite the fact that things didn't work in this way, confidence is not something that happens to you or is bestowed upon you, or even something that occurs naturally. It is a choice that you make to believe despite what you see in front of you. Now, what's going on in the game group, the personal development section? We're going to have there's a whole area that's going to be covering confidence. Every area of confidence, my TED Talks on confidence, my tips, quick and dirty tips on confidence, deep dives on confidence, the master classes where you're going to want to bring a pen and pad and take notes on how you can build up your confidence and consistent confidence. There's a master class up already on consistent confidence. It's about raising the tide of your confidence. So it's not necessarily about you just jumping from a 0 to 100 in confidence just because you went through a master class session. It's about your level of confidence, your baseline level of confidence being higher on a consistent basis, which is going to raise the tide of everything that's happening in your life. Everything you do is going to permeate everything that you're going through. And this is more of a slow burn than it is just a quick explosion. And understand that I've talked about this in previous episodes of this podcast. Most of success is a slow burn, a slow, gradual, steady progression. It's not just this one big bang theory that happens in one day and all of a sudden everything goes from terrible to amazing. It's a slow burn in growth. Personal growth and confidence is one of the most important parts of that. And confidence, discipline, mental toughness, they all work together. In the masterclass, I explain how that is. And that's why Work on Your Game is built around those 3 principles along with personal initiative. And that's, again, in the personal development section of the game group. If you didn't know, the game group membership, all 4 sections are open to anyone who's a member. So if you're a member, you have access to the basketball sections, whether you care about basketball or not, the business section and the personal development section, and of course, the game group member forum. If you have not touched into the forum, let me know that you're here. Let everybody else know that you're there. We're going to get more and more activity going there. I'm always posting there, posting answers to questions that people have asked me from even outside of the game group. And all of the information on the game group, if you're not yet a member, is at dreallday.com/membership. If you are, then make sure you're checking into the member portal often, because I'm always adding new material to there in each section. Work on your game. dreallday.com.